it is me, Clarissa, here on Clarissa where Clarissa says it all, and that's how it feels. So we are back with another video.
I dropped it and I broke down.
It's okay. It's okay. So we are back with another video. Today it's going to be a quick live vlog style video. So first and foremost, disclaimer for those of you that get distracted easily. My son is right there on my porch, basically playing with chalk. So yeah, if you see him popping in and out, you know why. Yeah, but for the video, we're talking about the Squid Games video, guys. Well, I should say series. It's a TV series that's on Netflix. I don't know if it comes on any other platform like Hulu or Stars or anything like that, but I do know for a fact this is on Netflix, okay? And so I wanted to give you guys some details about it because I have been watching it. I watched the entire season. I kind of binge watched it for a couple of days, this whole entire week, and I had to give a full recap on this series, guys. This freaking game is so like mind twisting. It's good and it's gory and it's like it kind of makes you want to watch it. So I figured I needed to go ahead and talk about this because I have some things I want to talk about and discuss. However, I realized once I said I'm gonna do this live, I didn't kind of want to like kill it for those people that have not watched it yet. I kind of hate when I'm watching a video review on like a video or a season or like TV show, and like the people give like too much details. And so that's why I figured to do a live where I'm just talking about the entire season compared to me breaking down each and every show or episode, like going one by one each episode and talking about it. That's kind of different than me doing like a complete overview, which you kind of leave you guys with cliffhangers wanting to watch the season, wanting to watch the TV show on Netflix. So that's what I'm getting into. I might give a little spoiler alert, but I'm gonna try my best not to give too much details. I'm also going to not give like a whole bunch of names and like that kind of stuff because I'm gonna be honest, those names are in another language. They're Korean-based names, and yeah. Oh, look what you mean. Keep making. I'm coming and watch it in a little bit, okay? I'm gonna look at it a little bit. I'm going to, be that's kind of upfront but discreet at the same time because I don't want to give all the names because of the pronunciations. I don't want to jack it up. But if I need any details, I have my computer here, and I'll be looking up some information as well. So when you see me leaning forward, you know what I'm doing. So let's get into this video. First and foremost, these contacts, I want to make sure I make notions of these. These are by Just for Kira contacts. These are colored contacts, guys, and they are like a pink and a blue purplish color. If this is something that you like, make sure you check out the description box down below. I will have a link to their websites so that you can go ahead and order them today. They do have deals like buy 4 get 3 free, buy 3 get 2 free, buy 2 get 1 free. And with that, you can use my code Klarissica to get 20% off, 20% off on top of the free boxes of contacts. Also, these contacts are a 12-month length, so you can use one pair for an entire 12 months as long as you are taking them out frequently and cleaning them, of course. And yeah, baby.
When I was going down on the green, it broke.
I know, baby, you showed me, so be more careful and stop riding so hard. So like I said, I'm outside playing with chalk. It was like $1 at Walmart. I don't really care if it breaks, but I'm trying to get him to like stop being so rough. He's a real boy. Anyways, y'all. So yeah, make sure you check the description box. I will have the link for these contacts and my code down below. Make sure you hit that link and check them out. Even if you just check them out and see what colors they have. They have so many different colors, and they do have prescription options and non-prescription options. So those of you that you wear, glasses, you have no excuse. Test them out, and you don't have to go with a crazy color like I do. They have regular colors like brown and regular grays and regular hazel, regular greens and blues and all that, but I kind of want to be a little spicy, a little different. So yeah, With that being said, make sure to subscribe, like, and share. Leave your comments down below. Let me know if you like this video or if you got any details or you just like, want to chat with me. Let me know in the comments down below what you are thinking about when it comes down to this TV series. And without further ado, let's get into this overview of the season, Squid Game season. Okay, so first and foremost, the Squid Game TV series is actually based around player 456. I think his name is Lee Jong. Hold on. It is Lee Jong Jae. And he plays Song Ji-young. And he's a chauffeur and a gambling addict, right, y'all? And he lives with his mom, who's basically struggling financially, so that he can help support his daughter, which he is having a problem with doing. So he basically, tried to get with the Squid Game to pay off his debts. Every single person that plays with the Squid Game is doing that to pay their debts. They actually go search for people that have debts. Leave my stuff alone. They actually search for people that have debt, right? So think about it. You're going to be more desperate if you need the money. So they don't just look for a Joe Schmo that's kind of like middle class and like kind of, even if you're not middle class, you can still be poor, but they still are paying them bills and they're still, making it work. They're getting those people that really are desperate, really need the money, really need to find a way to get it. And that's what they're doing. They're finding those type of people. So I'm going to pronounce this game. I'm just going to say player 456, Song Jin-hong. I'm gonna just say that Song Jin-hong, he's the one that is the main player. So he has okay at this point, because I don't want to keep butchering this name, I'm going to just go back and forth. So he has this friend who's in the neighborhood who is like the all-time star. He was raised in the neighborhood. He has now gone off to college. He does business school. He's making big investments, and he's just supposed to be buku rich, yada, 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 yada. So one day, this is important, one day he was passing along the way to go, of course, gamble, do what he do. And he saw this man. This man basically said, play this game, and you can have, some money and enter into being like buku rich. So basically, he ended up playing this game, getting slapped and all that kind of stuff to play the game. And the man in the game gave him this card, which had a circle, a square, and a triangle on there to basically initiate him into playing the Squid Game. Now, the reason why I mentioned his the guy that is buku rich, his mom still lives around the neighborhood and she sells mackerel, fish, all other kind of stuff. So basically, she has seen both.
I'm using all my chalks off the go.
It's okay. She basically has seen, of course, player 456, Song Ji-hong, and other kids, but Song Ji-hong, player 456, and this guy was best friends. Let me just, because this is important. Let me just 218. Cho Sang-woo. Okay, so 218, right? 218 is this player's number. So 456, 218. These are the only two players I want to give you names. Numbers 4 and player 1. So 218, 456, and player 1. Okay. So, all right. So they were 218 and 456 were best friends growing up. But of course, one went on to be this big buku rich investor, and the other stayed local and became a chauffeur and a gambler and struggling to pay off his debts that he had, racked up through gambling, and to help pay his mom bills and help out with the house and help out with his daughter. Okay, so like I said, he sees the 218's mom quite frequently, and that's that. So, all right, he gets initiated into the games because he wants to pay off his debts, and when he gets to the game, he notices that 218 is there. So imagine you walking into this dorm room with a whole bunch of people. I think it was like 400 people. It was, I think it was 456. Yeah, it's 456 people. So actually, 456 was the last person that actually was initiated into the game. So 456 people were in this game at the beginning of the game. So you walk in, you got this big old warehouse, right? And it has like all of these bunk beds, like levels bunk beds that you can break down like to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it's just going high. It got ladders to get up, it got stuff and all this stuff. Like it's crazy, right? So eventually, you got to see who's there, who's not there, and you start to, get closer to who you get closer to. And in this kind of game, you kind of team up for like survival to survive, right? So the first game happened. The first game is red light, green light, go. Y'all know what red light, green light. Red light, stop, don't move, go, red as fast as you can. Yellow light, go slow. Basically to get to whatever base is, whatever side of the road or the parkway or whatever grass, whatever side, base is, you're trying to get to base, right? So that's what 456, 218, and the other players were trying to do. So the first game, I was like, okay, they probably played red light, green light. I didn't think it was going to be like this. I did not think it was going to be like this. I didn't think, get your mind mental right. I did not know. So the first game was like this big, huge, humongous, like doll type of, robotic thing. And it was watching. It had like cameras in the eyes, right? So the thing was watching all of the players, right? And so, so they start playing the game. And by the way, they basically drugged them and knocked them out to get them to the game. Nobody knew where they were. They were in the middle, like on this island in the middle of the ocean. Nobody really knew where it was located, where it was. There's no cell phone reception. They didn't even have cell phones to begin with. They didn't even know how they got dressed. Basically awoken in this place, right? Just put it out there. So now they realize they're in the game. They get to the first game, like I said, go. They go outside. Bam. The game starts. Red light, green light, go. Now remember, I'm gonna put this out there. All of the games start with an instruction. They repeat instruction about 2 times. They tell you what the game's gonna be and what's the consequences. They basically say, today we're gonna play red light, green light, go. And the consequences are, if you move on red, you're out of the game. All right. If you move on red, you're out of the game. Think nothing of it, right? Yeah. So these people start playing this game, right? And the first person moves. And this doll thing has like a sensor, like to see who's moving, who's not moving, right? And y'all, this thing sees the person like, oh, and it shoots the person. It shoots the person. And at this point, people are looking like, oh my gosh. And they start going crazy. Now imagine you're playing a red light, green light, go. People are running and stopping, and the thing senses you basically moving, so you get shot. You out. Like, it don't just mean you out, like you out. Not out like a light out, right? So these people are now like going crazy, and everybody's getting shot that's moving. Now, mind you, if the thing is the point, the doll is still speaking, red light, green light, go, red light, green light. But what I'm saying is, when they seen a person get shot, people just started moving, and I guess the smart people just stayed still because they said red. And if I just seen, you have to be like quick on these in this Squid Game. You gotta be quick on your toes, quick to think. So I guess people say, okay, if I move, I'm gonna get shot like that. So I'm not gonna move. So, all right, they make it so that you have to literally listen and follow the directions to the T, right? All right. So you have a couple, because at first a whole bunch of people was mass hysteria, right? Then the other players start to get, okay, if you move, you're about to get shot, about to die. This is legitimately what's going on. I'm not risking my life for this, so I'm gonna be as still as I can, right? When it's red. All right. If you're watching the show, you will notice that, like I said, it was a sensor. The sensor showed that they were getting the people that were moving, and one player moved but did not get shot. Who was that? Number 1. People, for those that got to end the video, I'm gonna skip to the end. For those that are at the end of the season and realize that number 1 was in on the entire show, and you waited until the very end to realize that number one, player one was in on the entire freaking game, y'all were not paying attention at all. Because the very first game, player one did not get shot when he moved. The thing sensed him, but did nothing to him. So what does that tell me? And by the way, it was not the doll that was controlling the sensor. It was somebody, the head person. Y'all see in the movie, y'all see them in the black. It was him who was the head person who was watching the people and shooting with the doll. So 456 throughout the entire movie, by the way, basically makes it to the very end at all points in time throughout the entire game. He basically like was the last person getting over like the finish line or making it to go on to the next game. Just putting it out there, he was very lucky because he was 2 seconds, because it was time, by the way, 2 seconds away from basically being dead. And even if you actually won the game and you didn't make it to the end of the game or made it to the finish line, and did whatever it asked you to do, or play the game, whatever game it was within a certain time frame, you died. So that was that. So after this game, whoever made it across to the finish line was like in shock. You know what I'm saying? Like complete shock. They're like, oh my gosh, like this is not what I was signed up for. Like what the heck was going on? Did people just dead? Are they really dead? What's going on? Like this is not what I agreed upon. Mind you, every single player, all 456 players signed an agreement for this to be going on, for this to happen. And so y'all can't act oblivious. Like y'all signed. That's why when you guys are signing contracts, I need to read it verbatim and read the fine print, because they signed for this. They agreed for this, right? So legally, this game can't get in trouble because y'all signed a contractual agreement for this. So yeah, but they get back to the dorm and everybody's like, oh my gosh, they're in shock, they're confused, they're scared, and they basically are like, they want to go home. Not everybody, but a great majority of people were like, they want to go home. So everybody gets back. After a while, whatever, you'll start to see basically the counter. There was this big like glass, maybe it was like a plastic, but it was a see-through thick material framed piggy bank that you can see through, and it stayed right in the middle of the warehouse dorm room that they were living in and were staying at the time. And basically every game it will fill up with money, and it was like billions of money by the end of the game. So like 4.5 billion, I think that's what 456 won, but whatever. So it will fill up every game. So they get back to the thing, and it's like it literally deducts how many people are playing the game per game. So how many people died per game. When you get back to the dorm, it will show you. And I mean, like more than half. I think it went from 456 to like 100 or 217, like something like that, in just that one game. So people see that and they're like, oh, hell no. I think when I was 218, I don't know. It was a low number from 456. So it was a lot of people that died in that one hide and seek game. So they were like, oh, no, I want to do this somewhere. I want to go home, take me home. And then they basically had a poll. Basically, you had to go up and actually press X or the check mark if you wanted to stay. Of course, X if you want to go home. Okay, the check mark, the green check mark to go, you had to choose your option. So they all chose, and basically, I think it was like 50-50 or like something like that. And they, whatever the odds were, it was more than the people that wanted to stay. So they all went home. And they dropped them off in the middle of nowhere. They don't realize how they get there. They just got to where they got, and they threw them out into the road, like somewhere discreet. And they put their clothes, their real clothes that they had when they first got there, on the ground. And so whatever you had in the moment, if it was in your clothing to get a phone or money or whatever, that was what they gave back to you. So they didn't keep any of your belongings, but you didn't have it while you were in the game. So once everybody gets home, whatever, people are starting to live a normal life. But again,
whatever. Peace, bye.
Again, these people are in debt. So
go away,
bro.
It's taking forever.
What's taking forever?
Your video so we can play in the chalk.
Brendan, more minutes so I can finish this because I'm doing my live and this show is so good. I'm trying to tell people what it is and you distracted my video. Start. Get applesauce. Good snack.
Apple?
Mm-hmm. Okay, my son said I'm gonna tell him to take it too long. It has been 20 minutes. I didn't think it was gonna be this long, so he a little right. But y'all, come on, bear with me. Stay with me, right? If you're not subscribed, like and share, please subscribe and share. Leave comments down below. What y'all think about this TV show? All right. I'm gonna speed it up. So, like I said, they got back. They got their belongings, but like I was saying, they are in debt. So it's kind of like, dang, we had this option because they saw when you see something and the potential of getting something is in your mind and it's kind of like in your grasp, it kind of messes with you. So these people are coming back to their debts, their struggles, and they're like, dang, I could have won this money, I could have taken this, I could have done that with this money, I could do this and that. And basically they recruit those same people to come back to the game and some other people as well, right? So they go back to the game. Eventually they go back to the game, right? All right, cool, fine. Of course, you got the same investor and the other players that were in the game. I'm going to skip some parts, so I don't want to be too long. So, all right. So basically, like I was saying, you got all the games. Don't go out there with a dog. You got all the games. Basically, you have to play until the timer is done, and then you have to win or do whatever the task is so that you don't die, right? Okay, so they go back to the game and they start playing the game. Each and every game, player 1 has now found a liking to 4, 5, 6. Player 1 has found a liking to 4, 5, 6. 218 is all there for his ego. He is there to prove a point because he needs money to basically pay off the investments. He made some really bad investments, some really high up people and companies, and they're basically going to take him to jail for fraud in a way. And so he doesn't want to go to jail. He has to pay all these people in order to avoid jail. He doesn't have the money to pay all these people. Plus, his mom does not know that he's getting back in town. His mom does not even know that he is going through these hardships right now. No idea, because he's not telling her these things. He's keeping it on the DL like to himself. But Song Hood whatever, 456, he knows what's going on because he's there and he sees the player. So 218 was very, 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 very ruthless in this game. He made associates, friends, just for the betterment of him and to basically get him to be higher up to win. And so one of the episodes, there was this guy that's an Indian guy who was there because he wanted money. He didn't have so much to say debt. He was just indebted to his family and indebted to him trying to survive because his company didn't pay him. And so he took out some loans so therefore he can take care of his family. That's why he was in debt. All right. So that player ends up being really cool with 456 and 218. Mind you, they're already friends, so they're already with a group. It's 218, 456, player 1, another girl who basically was there because her brother and her mom were separated. So they were coming from the north. And of course, like now they're considered immigrants to where they were moving from, and the mom was able to get to where the daughter and her son was. Her son, which is the girl's brother, is in an orphanage. And with that being said, hold on. And so the orphanage, the boy was in an orphanage, and the sister promised the brother that she's gonna get him out and help get out his mother, or help his mother get over to the side of Korea that they were in. I think they come from China to Korea. It's the whole thing that they got going on, right? Okay. So with that being said, y'all, okay. So she was there basically to get her brother out of the orphanage and to get her mom to be legal, basically, because her mom got caught trying to cross the border, and it was not a good situation. So you have 456, 218, 1, the Indian guy, the woman I just told you about that has a brother that's an orphan, and then that's basically it. they started watching out for each other and keeping each other's backs, safe. Then eventually you have another player who comes around who's basically a really slick player. Like she's slick. She's there, kind of like 218, but she like talks so much trash. She does all these other things, and she's very just, she's funny, but it's annoying. Very annoying character that lady plays. She played that character very, very, very well. But she was on basically their opposing team. And once you start playing games, you start getting your teams together. So the opposing team like the bad guys. You have the good guys, which is the 456 team, 218, all of them. And they had the bad guys. You had the bad guys. This man had like a whole tattoo on his face. The all group of them were basically ruthless in the game. They didn't care about nothing. They didn't care about no rules. They didn't care about none of that. And they were out to get you. So she was originally a part of that guy and that clique. But see, what happened was her and the main guy, the leader of that clique, decided to have a little rendezvous in the bathroom, right? And from then it became like he just used her for some good. And the next day was a new game, and they needed to choose partners. And he said that he not choosing her for a partner because the game was basically more tailored to men. They don't. First of all, say this. Let me tell you this. They didn't know what the game were. They had no idea what the games were. They had no idea what the games were. However, it's like in their mental, they're thinking far ahead to say what are the odds. So basically, they were saying they don't know what the game is, and they don't want to have an all-girls team or a game with a whole bunch of girls when they don't know the game. So the next day comes after they done do what they did, and he basically blows her off. And they agreed when they was doing that they were going to stay until the end, like two peas in a pod kind of situation. Like it was like a whole little situation, like a little romance, and he just like threw it away like that. Like it didn't mean nothing to him. And I know that hurt that girl so much. So it's gonna come though. It's gonna come when she gets. It's a twist though. So he didn't choose her. Nobody wanted to choose her, right? All right, fine. So they choose the teams. It's tug of war. She didn't have to play, but it was tug of war. So after the game, she was in the dorm, and this is where her and the guys beef went back and forth. Now, let me stop there. There was a player, a doctor. He was a doctor that ended up going on, the other team with the ruthless people. And the reason why he was put on the team is because the leader wanted him to be as the insider guy. Now, why is he the insider guy? Because he's a doctor. He basically was there because he wanted more money to get his own practice because he had ended up killing somebody. And now he wasn't able to do his practice because his license and all that got taken away. But there's ways around that if you got money. You know what I'm saying? You can have your own private practice. You can have nurses and doctors under you, and you can still do certain things because it's your business. It makes sense. And you just either way, he got bills that he has to pay for. He got student loans probably got paid for. It doesn't even matter. He has all this other stuff that he needs to pay for. Even being a doctor, he has to take care of these of his life that he cannot suffice anymore because he has lost his license. However, it doesn't mean he's not a doctor. Shit happens, right? So the people, I gotta mention this. There were basically people watching the players, and they wore all red jumpsuits, and so they would be the ones that would come out and pick up the people that have died or passed due to the game or due to them killing them. At the end of the game, if you're not across that finish line or whatever, finish the task that you're supposed to finish, you're X'd off. And the people in the red jumpsuit were the ones who X'd you off. Now, at the end of the game, they will pick you up and put you in like this black box or like black mahogany brown, it looks black to me, box, and then put like a red bow over it. This is important as far as the doctor is concerned. Okay, so they had the people in the red jumpsuits, I don't want to call them minions, they had, three of them came up with this plan to sell body parts. For those who don't know, selling body parts is a very lucrative market on the black market, and they were doing it with these people. So when people would pass, they would basically market, and they would know which one they're going to use, and they'll put it in a separate I don't know what to call them. Y'all know the furnaces? Yeah, they'll put in a separate furnace that actually instead of cremating the people, it would fall down, and then they would be able to take the caskets and take it to a place where the doctor, which is a player, can come and take out all of the organs, and then they would get the organs, and then they would basically swim it to this boat that would be out in the middle of nowhere, because the people that are in the red jumpsuits know where they are now. So they were swimming out to wherever they, were, and then make a transaction, give them the parts, and they would get the money back. And then they'll go back to, they'll swim back to the base. Now, some people will say how they swim. Okay, even though this is a secretive location, again, people know where they are, so they do have like an exit plan if anything were to go down. They had, CO2 tanks, masks, jumpsuits, just an exit plan if anything were to happen. So they were using those CO2 tanks to get to wherever we had to get to do the transaction, and then swimming back with the same CO2 tanks for oxygen, and they pretend like this never happened. So what the reason why the doctor was so important to the ruthless team was because he was basically giving you the tea. So he would do the whole thing with the parts, whatever, and then they would tell him what's the next game. They would give him a little bit of extra food. They would basically give him like a little up for being helpful to them and giving them some money. Right? So that's why he was on that team. Now, eventually this guy gets caught for doing all of this, and then he ends up dying by the head guy, like I said, in all black. He finds out that they're doing it, and it's not because he doesn't get shot. Well, they don't die because of because when I say they, I mean the people in the red too. They don't die because they were doing the whole selling of the armies part. They die because of the unfairity to the other players. So because they were basically telling the other players what games were being next, that's why it was unfair. So that's why they were shot, because they weren't being fair. And not because they were selling, which I'm like, what the hell? But whatever. So, because again, they have morals, right? Okay, so that was that. So eventually you get down to the last three players. I'm going to sum it up. So I skipped a whole bunch of different games, but just to put it out there, the couple ended up dying together. There was this game that the elite people came to watch. The elite. Oh, let me stop there. While 456 was out, I told you guys they were out for a little while because they agreed to leave. He went to police. He tried to tell the police officers that this is going on. And because he's been the drunk and he's been the chauffeur and the person that's been gambling and all that he's that person in the neighborhood, they didn't believe him. They thought he was talking about crap. And he was trying to tell them, listen, there's a place that they're killing people, everything. He tried to tell them everything to them, and they did not believe him. However, there was a detective that was there, and he's looking for his brother. His brother actually ended up being the leader, by the way. The one in all black, I love you too. The one that's in all black, he ended up being the leader. But the detective ended up going to the game, ended up pretending to be a player. Then he ended up pretending to be one of the people in like the red jumpsuit, so that he can get information on one, the game, because he felt like it was bad, which it was, and then two, his brother, because he really just wanted to find his brother. Like he wanted to find his big brother, and he was going to do what he had to do to get his big brother. He knew his brother was there, so he really was just finding out, like, hey, relax. He really was just trying to like find out what happened to his brother. He thought his brother passed, but then he realized his brother did not pass. And he found like this room that had all the files of all the players and all the winners. And he found out his brother was a winner. And the head person that was from 2015 was his brother, who was the leader. And so I'm gonna get back to that. Okay. So the leader, like I said, the one in all black ended up killing the player and all the other people, although making sure everybody else was there that was doing all this crazy stuff with the bodies. Okay, so you get to the next game. They have people coming. To watch the game, right? And watching people play a game like this is really sadistic. I mean, but then again, here I am watching the video too, so you know what I'm saying? So, all right, that's true. So, okay. They watch the show, and this game basically is the last game. I think it was 1 through 16. There was 16 players left, right? This is the last game that they had until before I say that, prior to this game, the player number one is the last player before this game to really that was significant. So this player number one, he is playing this childhood games, and he keeps saying that the setting that they were in looks like how his city was. That's another red flag. He kept saying, "This looks like my city. I had a house that was right here. I did this right here." And the player in 456, the game was, I think they had 10 marbles, and they had to figure out a game. They had to play with every game, and whoever was the loser of the game died, right? And so basically the game was to get the most marbles. Whoever had the less marbles died, okay? So the Indian guy, I'm going to go back to this. The Indian guy was one of the people players on the team, and they had to pick a partner, had to pick two people for a partner. They didn't know they were going to go against each other. They just thought they needed to pick a partner. So of course, each people that were on their teams that they found comfortable with started picking each other. That was a mistake, because now you're playing against your teammate, and you have to now basically kill your teammate. So yeah. Number one is 456, right? And so 456 ends up winning the game, but not because he technically wins, but because one lets him win. And they go back and forth the marbles. And at first, the player number one was acting like senile. He didn't want to play. He was like when he had dementia, and he was running around this place. And the 456 like, we gotta play. Like, oh my God, I gotta play. Like, you need to play. Oh man, get your shit together. Like, he was getting frantic, like he was scared. And there was a couple. There was other couple that, of course, always played together. They were actually a couple, and the man ended up killing his wife because the wife lost the game. It was a whole bunch. And then 218, remember 218 told you that he was really desperate. 218 ended up tricking the Indian guy into giving him all his marbles. He actually didn't win the game, but he tricked the Indian guy into giving him all his marbles, because he basically was saying to the Indian guy that, okay, maybe we can go and play against other teams, and if we make them, lose, we both can survive. That wasn't the rules of the game, but it might have worked if he actually saw that through. He didn't actually see that through. He told him to wait until the last 3 minutes of the game and then come back to him. Mind you, the Indian guy had won the game that they were playing. And he was like, okay, so I don't want to die like this, so let's go ahead and, like I said, find other players to play with to, like, try to make us, survive. So he lies to the Indian guys, take the Indian guys' marbles. He pretends that he's giving the Indian guy the fair amount of marbles, like they both have the same equal amount of marbles. That's what the Indian guy is thinking. And he puts pebbles from, like, where they were playing the setting at into the bag that he had and gave it to the Indian guy to, like, hold. At the last moment, the Indian guy goes to look because he's looking around for player 218. Player 218 had already walked away and went to, like, back to the dorm, whatever. He's looking around for player 218, like, where's he at? Oh my gosh, we need to do this, to do that. And he's gone, disappeared, adios, out of there. And of course, the Indian guy died. And he was, at first, he's like, no, I can't do that. I got a family. I got someone to look out for too. I got things to do. Like, I can't just go like that. And the man tricked him. Again, he was a loser. 218 was an investor guy, was not it. So, okay, after that, we get to the next game, which is the game. Because number one dies. He's gone. That's it. Number one is the one that actually was supposed to greet the elites. At the end of the movie, at the end of the show, you figured that out. So the one was supposed to meet the elites, but he didn't, because he said he'll have more fun watching them. He said, no, I don't want to do it. I'm not allowed with him and not want to do it. He was running everything. Mind you, that's what was going on. Like, that makes sense now that I watched the entire series. So, all right, 456 ends up winning. Like I said, one ends up dying, but he doesn't really die. And it gets to the next game. The next game comes, and they have to basically step across this, like, you ever seen a trapeze, like, rope? Instead of it being a rope, it was these windows, like these glass windows. Either it was tempered glass or real glass. If you stepped on it, you should, if it's glass, you were stable. If you stepped on tempered glass, you fell straight through. And it was 16 players, and you had to choose 1 through 16, and they had it lined up which number you wanted to play. And so 456 was basically like the last one to technically choose which number he wanted, because he's trying to be logical. If I get the beginning one, what if I don't know what's going on? If I get the last one, what if I have more time? Because again, everything is time. so they were scared about the time, and so people started going straight to the middle numbers. Of course, the odds are the middle numbers you'll be able to see which one was going on with the game, right? So yeah, they had to figure out what to do. So the guy that chose number one, he actually was like, you know what? I never actually took accountability for my life. I never made any choices for myself. So let me just go ahead and choose. Can I have this number? And it was the best decision that 456 could have done by letting him get number one, because again, people are ruthless. They don't do favorites in that game. Just put it out there. But the man asked number one. And that could have been 456 live, because you don't know the game that they're about to play. So that was a given. It was nice for him to do that. It's like he was kind of like begging him, like, please let me get number one. I really want this number. Right? I'm glad. Well, I know 456 was glad that he didn't get that number, because at the end of the day, honey, the game was to choose which glass to step on, either the temper glass or the real glass. And each step that you took, somebody else will come behind you, and then the next person behind, and then the next person behind, and the next person behind, next person behind, like that. So that's how this game was. So you had to keep going. You can't go backwards, you have to go forward. So the first person stepped on the glass and it was good. The next time he stepped, it was simple glass, and that was it. The next person stepped, the same thing. You know what I'm trying to say? So basically, you being at the last, you home stretch. You kind of see what everybody's doing, so you're not going to die. The only thing that you have to worry about is getting across in a timely manner, because now people are scared to step on whatever glass it is, and they're like taking their sweet, precious time to get the hell across. So you are stuck like Chuck at the very end of the back of the line, and only two people can be on the same glass. Otherwise, you're going to, even if it's glass or tempered glass, if one more person is on that glass, you're going to fall through. So you really had no choice but to wait. All right. So at this game, number 14, I think it was, number 13. Number 13 actually was a glassman. So he could tell the difference between glass and tempered glass. And he waited until all of the bad guys that were still in the game to go. So the last couple that were left was, like I said, the guy with the tattoo who was ruthless, and then the girl. And the girl was before the guy that was ruthless that they had this whole situation with, right? And so he wanted her to go, and she's like, well, if you so bad or whatever, no, he had to go, and he told her to go. He told her to go before, and he said, well, if you so bad or whatever, go, you come, like whatever. She said, okay, I'll come. And she went and she held on to him, and she just fell backwards. They both down to the smiles, and they probably would have got to the next one, but she was not having it, because he was going to let everybody else die, basically, then choose the next piece of stuff, basically piece of glass that he needed to step on. Give me a second.
Is it almost gonna end?
Yeah. And so she was like, you know what? I'm tired of this. I'm probably going to DIE anyway, so I'm letting you go together with me, Romeo, Juliet, honey. We out dead. So that's when everybody found out after them two that the man, because number 13 was next to go after them two. So he's looking at the glass and he's like, yeah, okay, I got this. And that's when they figured out that he can read the glass. So 218 is like, why did you not say anything? How did people die? He's like, why would I save people that would kill me in an instant? You guys have been, loyal and nice, whatever. Why would I save those people that wouldn't have done anything to me? Touche, right? So he's looking. Then the players are like getting across. But again, I told you guys, this game, they're being watched by elite people, literally people that like big money people that came like people. Now, these were English people. They were English. They spoke English. They were like from Texas. Y'all dirty people, basically. These people, I think people like this exists for the real rich people. So there were real rich people like watching, and they were like really like into this. So they were like, wait, is that possible for them people to, basically cheat? They're not cheating. They're thinking on their feet. This man trying to get across. So basically, one of the guys complained to the head guy, which is, again, the detective's brother. The detective right now is in the room with the elite people serving drinks, and he is unaware that his brother is the lead person. But the lead person, which is the detective's brother, changes the settings on the lighting, which makes it dark. So number 13 basically gets to the last step before, like, there's 3 steps. Yeah, he gets to that last. He's on number 3. There's 2 more. He gets to those 2, and he cannot figure out what it is because they dim the lights. Oh my God. So he's like, does anybody got a marble? Does anybody got anything I can throw? My mind would have said, me thinking how I'm thinking, I would have tapped my glass to listen to my glass and then throw the marble to hear the other glasses. You know what I'm trying to say? So if I hear it sound like what I have, then it must be the same thing. This dang 13 player, well, his number was number 13, but he was number 13 in the lineup of this game. He throws the dang marble, and he was like, do you have anything else? No, they got nothing else. They had that one marble, and one marble that the man had was a marble that player number one had gave to him so that he would survive. So you throw that one marble, you can't even hear what it is that's going on besides that one sound of the glass. So of course he ends up choosing the wrong option. Not only that, actually, no, that's not what happened. 218 ends up pushing him. 218 ends up pushing him because he was taking too long to the side and the clock was running down and everybody had to get across. Because at this point, there are like 3 minutes left of like time to get everybody across. So actually, 218 ends up pushing him. That's what happened. He didn't get the chance to even choose an option, but he wasn't on Polisher's right option anyways, because the marble, the one that he threw, that's the one that ended up being.
It's 6, 3, 1.
No, it's 6, 1, 4. He ended up, yeah. So he ended up throwing that marble, and the one that he ended up throwing the marble for was not the right one. So he ended up passing along, right? So 218 ended up crossing. The girl that I told you with the brother, almost. The girl that I told you with the brother that's an orphanage and a mom that couldn't get across the border was actually still playing. And then 456, the one that basically revolves around the whole TV show series kind of revolves around, is left as well. So they can see what's left of the game to play. So they just go across. And at the very last second, per usual, 456 makes it across. And literally at that second, at that 1 second, all of the glass goes up. All of the glass goes up, right? All the glass goes up. Now I'm going to segment away because I want to do this one. I'm going to segment real quick. So I mentioned the detective. The detective was in the room, right? So he goes and takes a man, basically for a question. The man was kind of freaky deaky, so he thought he was going to get something on with the guy, because he's like, oh, you got pretty eyes, this and that. So he thought he was going to get something on with the guy, because some of these people be doing all of this kind of stuff with other, no offense to no race, but it's not race. No offense to no prerogative like LGBTQ, that stuff. No offense. However, this man was going both ways. He was enjoying himself, doing a little too much. Then he needed to do too much, right? So he goes and takes this man away, not knowing the detective is there, not knowing that this man is a detective. He just thinks that this is his property, as he calls it. Do you guys have any problem with me making this man sit here next to me, or this man only serving me? No problem. Okay, cool. So this man takes him away and basically says things he's gonna do something, sexual to the guy, and the guy basically cuts it, grabs his balls and all this kind of stuff, and makes him speak and makes him talk about the show, the episodes on camera, recording, right? So at this point, people realize that after the players have come across and the game is over, they're realizing that the detective, he said the demo detective, but I'm going to say it. The detective, which is the server, and the guy that he was one of the elite people had not came back. So they go to look for them, and the elite guy, is on the floor, passed out. And then the detective, which is playing the role of the server, actually is gone. He flees. He's running. He gets an air CO2 tank, and he's out of there. He tries to get to the next land, and it's like another random freaking island, so he couldn't really go anywhere. So he gets cell phone reception. He tries sending the stuff over to his boss, but then he gets caught. When he gets caught, he realizes that, of course, the main player guy is his brother. His brother ends up shooting him and killing him. And I don't know if the stuff ever sent to the head officer, because the signal was just so bad, and he kept trying to send the videos. He kept trying to send the videos while he was running away from the other men that was in red jumpsuits in the head guy. He kept trying to send it. It was not sending. He was like, he's on the phone with people. He said, send the FBI, send the squad teams here. And the guy ended up. By the way, those cops, I told you guys earlier, the men that they didn't believe the
I have hole in my ear.
Oh, okay, I get your ears pierced. I told you earlier that they didn't believe 56 and try to tell them. They actually called the number from the car, and the woman picked up and was like, stop pranking my phone. So they didn't really believe him. But this same time, this man, the detective, is on your team. He's telling y'all, like, go get somebody out here, check my phone, check the geocodes of my device, get somebody out here. They did not pay attention. They didn't send nobody, send no squads, and maybe didn't even get the connection off his phone. I don't know, but they did not track that call. So, like I said, him getting caught, he was getting to the edge of the mountain because he had to walk up, basically trying to run and hide, walked up this mountain that was on this island, and his brother ended up shooting him. And first off, he revealed the main leader of the game revealed himself to his brother, not the people. The people that are behind him that are in the red jumpsuits, you're not supposed to show your face. You're not supposed to know who each other are unless you are a player. So the people that were collecting the bodies and shooting, you're not supposed to know who they were. You're not supposed to know. So he only showed the brother. He didn't show the players. He showed the brother. The brother knew who he was, and he said, but why? How? Boom. Got shot, fell in the water. That was it. He put his mask back on. He goes back to the main location for the game, and that was it. I don't need that in my ear, baby. Thank you though. That needs to go in the trash. So then, all right, you get back to the game, right? Like I said, the glass, every single thing that was left for them to cross blows up, right? One of the pieces hits the girl that was playing for her brother and her mom in her side, like in her rib. And it wasn't like a little piece of glass. It was a whole big shard of glass, like a shard of glass. It penetrated her, right? And she's trying to, of course, show that she's fine because she doesn't want to seem weak. Once she's a female, too, she's hurt. And you guys already know this game is ruthless, like I said. And you got 218, 456 left. She already knows she has a friend and 456, but nobody is a true friend in 218. That's a foe. He is out to get you. So they get back to the dorm. They got 1, 2, 3 beds that are separated, like distance apart. And so they tell them to get changed, of course. And everybody got cuts and bruises from the big explosion of the glass, but nobody got hurt like she did. So, because the way that they were positioned, she was kind of the closest one to the glass, because the 456 kind of like was like trying to get across to the edge. He didn't want to be, think about you crossing over, you want to keep going. So he was kind of a farther distance than she was, because she made the cross in enough time. So they get changed, they go to dinner, their last meal in the game is only 3 players left and 1 game to play. So they have this extravagant dinner with like steak, 4-course meal, all of this food. I mean, it's nice set up. They got these little tuxes on that were given to wear and everything. And the girl that, of course, has this injury, she had to take out the glass while she was in the bathroom getting ready. But she didn't tell anybody that she was hurt because she didn't want to bring attention to herself, right? So they eat their food, and 456 peep that she didn't really eat anything. Then, now mind you, they've been eating like the bare minimum. Like they've been giving them like corn and like pears and like water only and like really small portion meals, right? So you got a whole 4-course meal, baby. You didn't eat that much food. You know something's wrong. And these men are, and not just because they were men, they were eating because they saw real food, like real portions food, and they were devouring, enjoying themselves. She couldn't really eat that much because she was in so much pain, and because she, had this injury, right? So they get back to the dorm, and basically it's time to go to bed. The 456 tells her, like, hey, what?
Who's the 456?
The player on that game. They basically, 456 go to her, and he's like, hey, I noticed that you didn't really eat the dinner. Like, wow, what's going on? What happened? Please, what happened? Tell me what's going on. And she's like, yeah, I'm okay, nothing's wrong, I'm just not hungry. And he's like, no, something is wrong with you. And then I forgot how he sees, but he ends up seeing that she's bleeding, like really bleeding. Now, before I say that, let me go back a little bit. While they're at dinner, right, the men in the jumpsuits are the ones basically doing all like the men. They're doing all like the dirty work, right? So they take the food away and leaves the knives. They leave the knives on the table. So all three of them grab the knife, right? So, all right, while they're at the dorm, the guy, 46, is talking to her, and he's like, I'm going to basically like finish it. So he wants to go in off 218 because he doesn't trust 218. And they both made an agreement that if anything happens, he's like, wait, no. He kind of cut the conversation off, but she's like, no. If anything happens, please take care of my sister, my brother, and please help my mom. Like, please, do this for me. And him not knowing that she's hurt. So he walks away, and he's like, you don't have nothing to worry about. He goes to try to get 218, and she says, stop. 218 is sleeping. 218 is across the other room, sleep, knocked out. And that was a perfect opportunity for 456 to go ahead and end it with him, right? So the girl is like, no, don't do it. Like, don't do it. So, all right, he don't do it. He then, after that, realizes that she is hurt and bleeding really bad. She starts to get real like flushed and starts to like pass out. And so he goes to banging on the door for help. Like, help, somebody, she's injured. Help her now. Somebody come help her, come now. Da, da, da. And they don't come. But they eventually open the doors, and he sees them walking in, and he's trying to explain. And then he sees they're carrying the casket, the one with the red bow they do for all the people. And he's like, what the heck is going on? Then he goes and he sees that 218 slits her throat, jugular vein slits her throat. So he's like, oh my gosh, how can you do that? Why would you do that to her? And he's, of course, in distress because of the fact that that he has now slit her throat. And he's, of course, upset at what just happened. So now he's looking at 218 like, WTF, like, why would you do that? Like, that's unfair. She's told me not to harm you, and you go and harm her. Like, where do they do this at? Like, oh my gosh. So yeah. Then they take her away, and now they are not seen eye to eye, of course, as they shouldn't be, because he just pretty did some grimy-ish by killing her off. Oh, I didn't want her to be in misery. She was going to die anyways. You don't know that, 46 saying. You don't know that. They could have helped her. They could have patched her up. Da, da, da. And he's like, no, I'll put her in misery. Okay, so now just them two are done to play. They play the Squid Game. This is why the name of the season is called Squid Game. They play the Squid Game. And basically an offense and a defense player. The player has to go around and basically get to the defensive side and cross over. Once you cross over to his side, you basically take the reign of his property or whatever, and you win the game. So these two are the last two playing the game and basically having an all-out brawl. Of course, 46 choose the offensive side and 218 choose the defensive side because he played defense the entire game. He played defensive. So he and both of them are playing the game. And of course, they are fighting it out. They're fighting it out. Before the last 2 seconds, because 218 had his knife still, so he goes to try to like stab 56, and he catches the knife in his hand. So you're not gonna like, not I said shoot, I'm sorry, stab. Because he went to stab 56. So 56 caught it, and he basically, that's how he ended up staying alive, and he ended up taking the knife away from him and throwing it. Actually, he didn't throw it first. He ended up taking the knife out of his hand to off 218, and before he could off 218, he said, listen, let's just leave the game right now. Now, as long as all the players agreed to leave throughout this entire game, they could have left. He said, let's just leave the game right now. Let's not do this to each other. Like, we know each other since we were young. Like, they're going to memory lane. Let's not do this. Right? And 218 is like, okay, cool, whatever. Mind you, 218 are on the ground. 456 got him down on the ground really good and good. So he's stable. Like, he ain't going nowhere. So 456 say, all right, cool, we're going to do this. They agreed to do this. So he walks away like he's hurt. His hands bleeding, all this stuff. He hurt. He walks away. He's like, all right, we ain't going to do this right now. We ain't going to harm each other. He goes away. 218 says, I'm sorry, I can't do this. And he offs himself. So 456 automatically wins by default because 218 ends the game. So once 456 gets back home, he's mad depressed. He's mad guilty about everything that he's gone through, and he does not actually use any of the money for quite a while. Player number one is an old guy, and he basically is watching player 456 the entire time that he is out and about. So he calls, basically he gives him this card because some investor called 456 to go and talk about his money and how he can invest his money more and get more, because 456 has just been keeping his money in this account and not doing anything with it at all. So the investor bank basically called him after 456 was like, no, I won't do nothing with it. He leaves, go get something, basically asks the guy that's asking him, mind you, this man is a billionaire, multi-millionaire, asking this man to spot him some money to go to the store. If you don't want to go to the store, he says, give me something, if you don't mind, can you give me like, I think 10 yen, 50 yen, 5 yen, whatever. And he went to go get some liquor. He goes and sits out by this lake, and this lady asks him to buy this rose because she needs money. She said she can't go back to her boss without selling the roses. So he buys the rose. In the rose is like the card, the triangle, the X, and the circle, the triangle, the square, and the triangle, square, and triangle. My son loves these damn dogs. So the triangle, the square, and the circle, he sees it on the card as the X. Whatever, y'all know I'm getting the things mixed up. It's a triangle, square, and a circle. He sees these symbols on the card, and